I might just attach this to every piece of clothing I wear.
Right.
I would take a photo of it and add it to your workstation.
Yeah, that's true.
Just
Actually,
make it the head of your memos.
there's something random that we can discuss. Not like we haven't had 24 minutes of pre-show already. So I have made a unilateral decision for every single person who exists on the planet.
I like it.
Because I'm British and that is my God-given right. The best video game soundtrack of all time, overall, is Doom 2016.
I respect your choice. Hey,
Other video
Fedor.
game soundtracks might have bangers in them. They might have great.
You're talking about
songs.
consistency. This is a consistent 10 out of 10 the whole way through.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
And it's Doom 2016. My favorite song will always be Normandy Reborn, but my favorite overall soundtrack is probably Doom 2016. Because that thing fucking bangs, man.
I'm
biting my tongue to not make a rip and tear joke, and I'm trying so hard. I'm like hurting myself over here.
Hey.
I might disagree with you only because very recently has something come up that has changed my opinion on something, and I will be talking about it today.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Okay. I see how it is.
But I respect your incorrect opinion.
I said I made a unilateral decision for everybody. That means no one can argue with me.
I feel like it's definitely not one of those soundtracks where I hear your take and I go like, dude, no, come on. It's one of those ones I was like, that's a great soundtrack.
It's not like this is a hot take out of left field or something.
That's right. My favorite soundtrack is Alpha Protocol. It's like, what?
No, the best soundtrack is Qbert.
That's right. That's right.
And the only reason it occurred to me was because I can't remember what was happening. I think Master of Puppets came on, and then immediately, as soon as I think of Master of Puppets, I immediately think of, I think it's actually At the Doom Gate from 1997, which is the song that everybody knows. It is the E1M1 song.
Right.
Yes, exactly. And then as soon as that came into my head, I thought, you know what? The 2016 soundtrack might still be great. Let's give it a listen to. And then I started playing the album, and I was like, fuck, dude. This album is
really good.
Amazing.
It's a real bummer that composer went weird with the release of Doom Eternal soundtrack. There was like a whole bunch of drama surrounding that, and it sounds like he's kind of persona non grata over at id after that. That's right, Fedor. Best soundtrack ever, Dungeon Encounters. Here's classical music.
Zero soundtrack?
No, it has a soundtrack.
It's miserable. You want to talk about one of the worst soundtracks in probably the last 10-15 years? It's easily Dungeon Encounters.
Well, and the best thing is, I can't think of how any of those songs go right now, which kind of tells you something. And I'm pretty sure if I started playing the game again, it would just get stuck in there again randomly.
It's so like it's so baffling because it feels. I love that the game got made, and I love that it seems like Square essentially just handed them a blank check and kind of was just like, we're not going to tell you no, just like make whatever you want. And unfortunately, that extended to the soundtrack too, where it's like, it has music? Great, I wasn't expecting that. All right, let's ship it. Great. Oh no, what happened?
But if in the second one, they doubled down on the music and be like, oh, this is what you guys are really here for.
Oh, God. Uematsu wrote double the tracks. It's like, please, please no. Oh, God. So rough. All right, you guys ready to start this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Fine.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, totally ready to podcast, is Moonpeer.
Hi.
And the Nymph.
Don't forget, clocks go backwards. Or no, forwards.
They've already gone forwards, dude. My head is
I'm just saying.
Up my backside right now.
I have a microwave that is still backwards right now.
Well, half of my house I haven't moved over yet, but yeah,
my smartwatch is not so smart because it didn't automatically update itself.
Rough. Come on, man.
So I've got a dumb smartwatch, is what I'm saying.
Great. It's a bummer. Jeez. Well, we're not dumb. We are a smartwatch over at patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones and numbers.
Not my finest transition, but that's okay. You can get all the cool behind-the-scenes stuff, like the weekly Outcast, our exclusive and uncensored episodes where we talk about everything else that's going on in our lives other than video games. I don't think any of us have had a lot of time for games lately, so if you want to hear what else has been going on, like our hot movie reviews, Moon had 2 movie reviews this week.
Yeah,
2 movies
that's
he liked.
right. I had two. 1
short movie and 1 super long film. You get to pick which one of those are.
The pre-show is definitely turning into the old man cast of this is what I had time for.
Well, movies have intermissions. Ugh, my bladder.
I literally had that discussion with somebody coming out of the movie in question.
Yeah.
I was like, they really need to bring back like 15-minute intermissions.
Yeah.
I just
do. I need to pee so badly.
That's why you get the big cup.
That's right. Yes, police over there in row 8. So you can get, if you like what we were just goofing around there, if you're a $2 or higher patron, and here are some uncensored thoughts about all that stuff over there.
Some of that highbrow humor.
That's right. That's what we're best at. You also get 2-week early access to We Roguelike It, the show where Moon and I are playing every roguelike in history. Wink. You can get that over there. We're wrapping up one game and we're going to be starting another one. We're actually going to be playing, for our next game, we're going to be playing Dreamscaper, the game that the Nymph let us know about a couple weeks ago here, which is on Game Pass, which is great for price reasons. And you get early access to Critical Misses, show where Moon and I are catching up all the media hits we've missed. We are getting close to wrapping up this most recent season 13, 12, 13. It's up there.
12, dude. It's 12.
There we go. We haven't chosen what we're going to talk about for the next season, but if you want to hear our behind the scenes production meeting, if you're at the $5 tier or higher over on Patreon, there's an exclusive episode that comes out between the seasons where we talk about sort of planning behind the scenes, how we feel the show's going, what we're going to watch next. Had like a late minute curveball for talking about what we were going to do for season 12. So that was, last one was like an hour long. So if you want like another hour of us talking a little bit more chill than our usual stuff, kind of, we're all business. February in chat says those meetings are spicy. They can get pretty spicy. You want to hear some hot takes about stuff where we are or aren't going to cover? The production meetings episodes are for you. All of that stuff. Patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones, very numbers.
So Moon, what have you been playing this past week?
Oh boy. Okay, so let's start with the obvious stuff first and foremost, shall we? Like, literally, I got 3 games, by the way. Okay. 2 of them you'd hear me talk about plenty of times.
I only have 1 game.
I played some more. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it Elden Ring? Please tell me it's Elden Ring.
Hell no. It will never be Elden Ring. No shade to anyone that's playing it and enjoying it. Not my jam.
I'm just saying, $250, and once the scary games is done, we might be able to get Boston into Souls-likes.
Right? Who knows? I like them. I just don't want to play them.
Patreon.com/E1M1.
That's right.
Wait, hold on. Who says it now? Do I say it now?
What, the ones or numbers?
No, you just broke reality.
That's right.
Yep. So I've been playing Hitman 2.
Yes.
which is secretly Hitman 1.
Again.
Again. For the fourth time.
Hitman 1.2.
Yeah, so Agent 47 is disguised as Agent 47 from the past.
Correct.
And
it's a time loop movie. Gotcha.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's Hitman. I love it. I love the new mechanics. I love the little bushes that you can hide in. I love all that kind of stuff. It's more of the same. I like Hitman. I will continue to let you know that I like Hitman as long as I'm still playing Hitman, which will be for about 4 more years based on the speed I'm making my way through this game. Plus, I get DLC achievements. Like, Hitman 2 has got like 2,050 gamer score or something like that. It's fantastic.
Jeez.
So Hitman 2, it's great, it's fun. You should go play it. Get the gold edition for Hitman 2. Ignore Hitman 1. That's my recommendations.
Yep.
I played some more Rainbow Six Siege Extraction, which continues to be a rather dumb fun game. I need to play that, and also I need to finish Outriders before they leave Game Pass, because they're just going to get dropped without any warning at all. Yep. So that's going to be fun. The main I literally had one night worth of gameplay this week. So I had a bunch of company over, and we're sitting there in front of my television, and it's like, well, what can we play? Because you're a bunch of rookies. So
I'm an MLG pro gamer, so get on my level, scrubs.
Pretty much, yes.
Right.
So I need a game that doesn't need too much skill.
Right.
And this is not me about to insult these games. I just need something with simple mechanics.
Well, and you can't have it be like, okay, so here's all the lore. Here's how to... Have you ever played this game? Like, here's the half-an-hour tutorial. Like, none of that.
No, you just throw them into Smash head first.
That's right. Hit the buttons, let's go.
But that's fine, because Smash is perfect for that, because it's simple mechanics that are hard to master. It's like, I would play Rocket League with them, but unfortunately, Rocket League, I will be jumping around doing aerials and backflips and smashing the goals. And they're like, which way is forwards?
That's right.
So I was trying to figure out what we could play. So I was like, okay. We got 3 options here. They're all similar games.
Okay.
Human Fall Flat.
Right. Classic.
Gang Beasts.
It's very similar, yeah.
And Totally Reliable Delivery Service.
Okay. All very similar, like, physics weirdness things.
Exactly. And even if you're an MLG pro level gamer, you're still going to suck at them, because that's the point of these kind of games.
Yeah. They're like a boneless blob that you're controlling.
Exactly. So I thought, let's do an experiment.
Okay. Okay.
So I set them up on split screen in front of my television.
And
then I played it from my phone.
Okay.
Because TRDS is on Game Pass, and it is part of the cloud gaming thing.
Nice.
So I had them set up on split screen in front of my television, and I'm sitting nearby, but off to the side, just being like, on my stupid little phone version of the game. It's like, this is kind of cool. Like, I'm literally playing like 3-player split screen, except one of us, me, the important one, has the full size screen. Granted, my full size screen is tiny, but it's a full size screen.
It's one of those moments that genuinely does feel like the future, where it's like, I haven't paid for any of the copies of this game. I'm playing this totally legally, and the 3 of us are playing across 2 different devices in the same place.
Yes, it's a little bit strange when you put all of the pieces back together. It's real confusing, real fun, and a laugh was had by all. Like, it happens with those games. It either gets real frustrating or real funny. It can only go one of the 2 directions.
Just like
Metroid.
Overcooked.
Yeah, exactly. So a laugh was had by all. There was people falling off mountains, falling out of helicopters, into helicopters, which when you try and fly a helicopter with those controls, it's a literal nightmare, by the way.
Yep. Let's see a real pro do it.
Exactly.
Crash.
As somebody who Like, I adore the helicopter controls in first-person shooter games because I'm usually pretty solid at them. I was the dude who, in all of the Battlefield games, would hover around a spawn point, just taking people out. Not a spawn point, but a checkpoint thing that you have to capture. Zone.
Yeah.
Just hovering around there, avoiding missiles, letting people spawn on me, letting them jump into the point to capture it, and then moving on to the next one. I was that dude. Right. I was like, oh, you've got a jet, I've got a helicopter. Guess who wins? Me. Spoiler alert. Right. And we had an absolute blast because the physics are so stupid in there that, like, I ended up with me piloting a helicopter on a network-based connection through my phone that was Wi-Fi. And they were hanging off the side of me because they couldn't get a grip of the helicopter, one on each side, to try and make the ballast of the helicopter work. And then something happened, and then someone went over to the other side of the helicopter. So it was two people on one side, and the helicopter's just flying at a 45-degree angle just to try and keep the thing balanced as it's going.
That's great.
And it's like, come on, this is difficult. And then, people fall to their deaths and so on and so forth. It was a genuinely great and fun experience.
Yeah.
And then, after that fun was had, I did a test. Because, don't get me wrong, I've got a Pixel 6, and my phone screen is not small by any nature of the imagination. It's a pretty big screen. When you take the case off and have the controller on it, it's not too bad. And then I thought, hold on a minute. I have a tablet right here. I have newer Xbox controllers. So let's just do a test.
Sure.
So now I have a dedicated tablet controller because I can also do the Game Pass thing streaming onto my tablet and have a much better screen.
Right.
And the controller is a Bluetooth, so it's synced directly to my tablet, and it will never sync with anything else ever again. That is now my tablet controller to go with my PC controller that sits right here, my controller that sits in there, and then the 3 other spares I've got lying around.
I was gonna say, I thought we were getting to the point where you're like, that tablet was pretty good. How about my computer? Now I can do cloud streaming through the Windows Game Pass app
crap,
now.
I could do that, couldn't I?
And then
bigger.
full circle, you grab your Steam Deck and hook it up to your TV.
Bigger.
Oh no. I've gone down a nasty rabbit hole. I forgot about the ability to do it on the PC, to be honest, because I hate sitting in front of this PC because I spend all of my day, like 12 hours a day, sitting in front of a PC and staring at screens. That's why I like my Xbox. But no, it was fun. It was stupid. It's a dumb, stupid, fun co-op game where it just has a whole bunch of mishmash thrown in there. They put so much DLC into that game that it's stupid. There is a ridiculous amount of vehicles and outfits and things like that you can get now. It continues to be one of those physics-based games that is genuinely fun.
Yep.
It's like Human Fall Flat, but Human Fall Flat can occasionally get on the really annoying side when you're trying to hook a hook onto a line and then throw yourself off a cliff so you can zip line down. And the physics go bad and you just loop yourself straight off. It's just like,
right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. But no, totally reliable delivery service. It was fun, and I'm pretty sure my neighbor got annoyed with how loud people were being while they were laughing. It's like, okay. It's like,
sorry, I'm having fun.
Shut up. And turn your heat down, please.
That's right. That's right.
The fun will stop when my apartment gets cooler.
That's right.
But that is all I've been playing this week, Mr. Nimp.
Oh, God.
So, my son and I have been trying to play Ark again. Off and on.
Okay.
He is all about this game, 100%. I don't know why, but he thoroughly enjoys it. But today, it was either today or yesterday, he got killed by something, and then he tried to run back to his body and got killed by it again. So he's like, all right, hey, I need you to log in and join my game so that way you can distract the thing and I can get my body.
Oh,
like,
so you just need me to be bait. I see.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. So is this where you slam down the book and, well, let me tell you about corpse runs, son, and how this is?
Well, because I am not as into this game as he is. It's like, well, screw it. I'll just throw everything into the chest that's in our little hut, and then I'll be chased by whatever you want.
Yeah,
I'll
get eaten by a dinosaur. Yeah.
The problem turned out to be, though, is that for some reason today he could get into his server, his non-dedicated server, no problem. I could not get into it. It would show him playing the game. It would not allow us. He couldn't invite me, and I couldn't get into it.
Weird.
Spent a couple minutes looking it up. Apparently, this is a known issue with Arc across PCs, consoles, whatever. No one seems to know why it does it. It's just every once in a while, it just doesn't allow you to, and then all of a sudden you can again. Some
solar flare happens, and you just gotta wait a little bit.
Yeah, something weird. So right now, I'm just like, well, sorry, man, you're gonna have to learn the hard way to do the run of shame.
Yep.
So that's where we're at. He has trained. He figured out how to train animals.
Oh, okay.
He has 3 dodos that he has trained. He doesn't know where any of them are.
Okay.
Because it's entirely possible.
Hate to tell him what happened to the dodos, but he'll figure it out.
Well, he had said that they apparently walk really slow. Even when they run, they're pretty slow. So he thinks that they're just kind of meandering around somewhere. But obviously, he's not too worried about it because when he couldn't find the first one, he trained a second one. And then when he couldn't find the second one, he trained a third one. Now he's just like, I don't know what's going on.
I like that he has a clear favorite. It's not just like, I'll get another animal. It's like, no, I'm going to get another dodo.
Yeah. Well, and we had found out, too, about, like, the fences and stuff, and that's kind of was like, maybe you should put them in a fence. Maybe they're just like chickens where they just run wild.
Right.
And then 90 hours from now, you'll randomly find your tame dodo on the other side of the world for some reason.
Yeah.
So that's his goal. He has dreams of grandeur of trying to get the platinum for this game.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And this is after he has looked at the trophies.
And
I have looked at the trophies. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like, that's why I envy having all this free time that kids do, where it's like, I'm going to spend the next 6 years of my life trying to get the platinum for this game.
I'm going to spend all day, every day for my summer break just getting Arc's platinum.
Meanwhile, I'm here as an adult going, God, I really wish I could just have another hour.
Right.
That
I'm so tired.
Yeah, I'm not trying to trade sleep for game time.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, your game is 8 hours long? Perfect, I'll buy it.
Right.
Yeah. Next game, something that I had brought up earlier in the pre-show. I checked out Fuga, Melodies of Steel.
Yeah.
I have made it up to chapter 3 so far.
Doing great.
Yeah, this is really good. Really loving it.
You're like a quarter of the way done with the game already.
Really? How many chapters are in it?
I think it's only like 12.
Oh,
15, okay. 15 maybe. Like it's really not super long. It's more on the length of Chrono Trigger than it is Final Fantasy 13.
Gotcha. Okay, I kind of like how it's got this weird visual novel / time-based RPG thing going for it. With all because basically how it works out is you have the story that's being presented to you, and then you have locations that you can move to like trade and stuff. And once you finish that, you move on to your next like area to fight in. And it's basically just this rail. And then sometimes you get to choose which rails you're going on. And I do think it's really funny that this tank is so beat up right now that there's sparks shooting off of it, and it looks like it's going to fall apart at any minute now.
Like 15 different parts are moving independently of another. It's like, it's real rough.
And it's still like this thing that all the enemies are super afraid of. It's like, can't wait for it to finally get fixed. But yeah, I've only gotten up to chapter 3. My son just started playing it today, and he's really liking it.
Nice.
Which I kind of figured he would. And I'll probably not play this for a little bit, not because I don't want to, but I'm currently occupied with a different game.
Right.
Moving on to my next game that also came out this week for me was Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah, this is on Game Pass now,
yeah,
right?
It just came to Game Pass. So,
nice.
Moon, earlier, you had brought up in discussion that you have decided for all of humanity that Doom 2016 has the best soundtrack. I would put out there that Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty high up there now.
When I fired
licensed music?
Yes.
Both. It's licensed music
yeah.
and like when you fire up that game and it's what song did the game start with for you for like the main menu screen?
I think I had oh Jesus, what
For
game
me
was
it was
it?
the whistling of Don't Worry Be Happy. And I was just like, yeah.
I've had that before.
It's pretty good.
But yeah, I think it just kind of rotates throughout
there's
the entire...
a couple, yeah, because I think it's like the radio in the Milano playing. Yep. And then the Star-Lord tape from the very beginning is really good. You're looking at the lyrics sheet while this whole song is playing.
Yeah, and you can sit there and actually read the lyrics. But so a lot of this is licensed 80s music.
Yeah.
Because Peter Quill is a child of the 80s. Oh. I knew that my son would like it as soon as a couple of songs started coming up, and my son absolutely loves the 80s because my father-in-law, who's as much of a pirate as any of us back in those days of the internet's new and let's just see what we can do with it.
What's this LimeWire thing? And Kazaa.
No, don't bring that thing up because that thing's been in the news again recently.
Ancient LimeWire, the one that would give you viruses, not the one that's destroying the planet.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one where it was 50-50 that you were going to find what you were looking for.
That's right. Someone says Legend of Zelda by systemofadown.mp3.
I still actually have that. So.
I do too, on some like old unindexed folder.
Yep. But anyway, so my father-in-law burned him a CD of old 80s songs, and nice. The funny thing is that Radio killed
Video Killed the Radio Star.
Yeah, there's a skip in that song that we have heard that
just like the old days
so many times now that when we hear the actual song on the radio and that skip isn't there, it throws me off. That's how much we've listened to this CD.
I love that he's getting like, even now he's getting the perfect thing where it's like this one song has like way too much bass. So there's like that one part of the song that's just like, it's just like, that's great. This is exactly how it should go.
Yep. So because he loves that CD, and me starting like the first couple of minutes of this game was like, all right, if nothing else, he's gonna love this game for the music.
He's running in the room like, yes.
Yeah. So as of today, he's already on chapter 9. I think there's only 10 chapters in this game.
Yeah, 11? It's not. Apparently, it's like an 8 to 10 hour thing, from what I'm hearing.
So yeah, he is burning through it, and he absolutely loves it.
Mm-hmm.
I really love it too. Besides the music, the continuous banter going back and forth.
Yep.
I thought that was going to get really annoying really quickly. It actually hasn't so far. Again, I'm only in chapter 3, so I haven't had a whole lot of time with it.
I haven't finished chapter 1. What did you think about the scoreboard that shows up at the beginning of chapter 1 where they're competing?
That was so stupid. Yeah. Well, really... at first I didn't know what we were supposed to be shooting because I didn't catch what we were going after. And then Rocket, anytime you get close to him, what happens is Rocket puts up like this little pixelated thing because he hacked your mask as Star-Lord.
Yep.
So now you have this little score tracker on top, and you're supposed to be shooting like these pod things.
Yeah, these like egg sack things or something.
Yeah. And as you're progressing, you know one's close because all of a sudden Rocket like runs really far ahead. So now you're trying to outrun him to get to the thing.
Rocket's like, no, I got this one.
Shoot it. Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
Then you end up in an area eventually where there's just like a ton of them, and I'm sitting there lighting it up, and I've got my score up to like 35, and he was at 15 or something.
Yeah.
And then you go into the next spot, and there's just like this fight that happens, and then Rocket starts getting mad because you're higher than him. So he's like, well, you're using 2 guns, so I think anytime I shoot them, mine should be worth 2. And
yeah, he starts doubling his score.
Yeah, so then he hacks it so that anytime he shoots one, he gets 2 points for it. You're still getting 1, even though you have your 2 guns. And then, yeah, there was something. He killed something else. He's like, oh, that seems like a 5-pointer to me. And so all of a sudden, the score just goes up by 5. It's like,
it's really good. It's really. I need to get back to this and play more of it. But like, what I've enjoyed of it is very much what you're running into. Where it's like, I didn't have crazy expectations going into this, but from the beginning, it's impressed me a lot.
Well, and like I was saying with the banter, it kind of feels like you're just watching a TV show.
Yeah.
Where the characters are just talking back and forth. And you get a little bit of looping here and there if you like spend a little too long in an area where they're like, hey, you should
like,
be
Peter,
coming
come
this
on.
way. Yeah. But a lot of the dialogue just seems unique and seems really fun and funny.
It's really well voice acted. Like, it feels very natural. It feels like this crew has been together for long enough to kind of like have a good rapport with each other, instead of like, all right, you need to read out this line. Ha, you're right, Groot. Anyways, moving on. Like, none of it feels like that.
One of my favorite pieces of dialogue is when you get separated from Rocket and Groot, and this is still within the first area. You run into the first enemy type.
Right.
And Peter starts yelling that he needs help through his radio.
Mm-hmm.
And then Drax gets on the radio and says, Peter, what's happening? All I heard you was I just heard you yelling.
Mm-hmm.
And Rocket says, it's just him crying into the mic. He left it on. And then Drax is like, oh, Peter, you should fight. What was it? You should fight with honor or something like that. Or no, you should fight with dignity as a warrior. And Rocket's like, or at least shut up and die with it. And then there's another time where
it's surprisingly good.
And then there's another time where you get separated again, and kind of the same thing happens where Peter's yelling for help because you are fighting this thing that's kind of difficult. And then Drax just comes busting through a wall. He's like, quick, Peter, get behind me in your cowardly way or something like that. Yeah. He's like, I'm not being cowardly. It's kicking my butt.
I do really like how Rocket, from the very beginning, is like, Peter's fine. He's not really getting hurt. And Peter's like, no, like, I'm fighting 30 of these things. And Rocket's like, you're funny. Anyways.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good.
I think they did a really good job capturing the characters, like I said, in the first 3 chapters that I've played it so far. Yeah. So I'm really liking it. My son is obviously loving it because he's already almost beaten it like 2 days into playing it. So.
Right. To be young again.
Yeah. My next game, this is kind of really brief. I got back into Metroid real quick. Again, I was lost, didn't know where to go, so I had to look up where I needed to go. Mm-hmm. Found it. Fought a boss. I'm at another boss right now. I mean, it was nice. It was quite literally, I just needed... this game needs just like an indicator. Just right. Something on the map that says, hey, maybe look in this general map area.
Right.
It's not very helpful in that way at all. So, yeah. Still a fun game, though. Really like it. I just picked up, the grappling beam now? And this, oh my god, with this boss fight, you have to grapple around, and you have to hold down, one button to one of the shoulder buttons to activate the grapple beam, the other shoulder button to like aim. Then you have to hit the button to shoot it. Then you have to hold the button while you're grappling. So you've kind of got this weird claw thing going with your hand.
Great.
What is this, Flint Hook?
That's right,
dude. Yeah.
No.
And it's because I go back and forth with it. It takes me a second to get used to everything again. So like countering, I couldn't do for like a couple of enemies, and then you get back into the swing of it. So it's not difficult. It's just getting used to it and keeping up with it. But yeah, they really just need to help with indicating where you should be going, kind of. I don't need them to hold my hand.
Any direction, right?
Yeah, like literally just like you have right now, I think I have 5 area maps. Just have one of them blinking, letting me know, hey, somewhere in this massive area is the next thing for you to do.
Right. Should I be going east or west? Like, give me something.
My last game, which is the game that takes up all of my thought processes and game time, Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's it. That's all. It's just Elden Ring.
It's the old ring. What do you want?
I did find the boss, because last time I was lost in a school. Then I continued on from being lost to finding some weird horror of an Iron Maiden to fight, and then fighting an invading NPC, and then I finally found the boss.
Okay.
And the boss was a pretty cool fight. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there's 2 phases to it. One of them involves you running around this library, and you have to kill certain things so that way you can actually get at the boss. And once you've done this enough times, it opens up into the next stage of the boss fight, which reminds me a lot of fighting Rom in Bloodborne, where it's just this smooth like glass lake that you're on, and this massive moon behind you.
Yeah.
And I survived for literally all of 2 seconds in that phase because as soon as you get into that phase, she starts charging up a magical attack, and she basically Kamehameha your butt as soon as you move into that phase.
Great.
Like, I'm not even joking. That's her first attack. I narrowly dodged that, but after she gets done with that attack, she already starts shooting off like these homing missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was not quick enough to dodge those, and those just killed me immediately. I'm like, okay.
All right, so need another strategy.
Well, my immediate thing was I had discovered that I have just enough time to summon something while spamming dodge either left or right. And it's
running
like
away
literally
and crying,
it's
like
burning the fringes of my cape as I'm dodging out of the way of this beam. But then it was also just like trying to get past the homing missiles, because if you're too far away, she has all this, ranged magic, but if you're too close, she has all this close range magic. So you're trying to do this little delicate dance of, okay, you're about to do an AoE, I need to back up, but not too far, because if I get too far, you're going to be able to launch this other attack. You can't really stagger her to like midway through her basically casting.
Mm-hmm.
So if she starts casting, get a hit in and then back up to figure out what she's trying to do. And as it progresses, eventually she also starts to summon things.
Oh, of course.
So I have a pack of wolves, which you can only summon 3 of them. She summons a whole pack of wolves, which it looked to be about 7 or 8 wolves all at once. I'm like, well, this sucks.
Cheating.
Yeah, that killed me because I couldn't dodge because the wolves surrounded me. She did her fun little Kamehameha blast again, and I couldn't go anywhere, so she killed all of her wolves and me at the same time. It's like, great, there's a restart.
Great.
Eventually, I don't even know how many times it took me, but eventually I did get her to the point where it's like, okay, I've got this down. I've figured out, with what her timing is and all that, how to attack her, how to go about backing up, healing, having my wolves distract her just enough so I have time to heal. And I get past her first summon of the wolves again. This time I get out of the way so that they don't surround me. She does her blast. She kills all of them while trying to kill me. I run and attack her, and she's like down to like a sliver of health.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, back up, don't get greedy. And then she starts summoning something else.
Oh, no.
And the thing that she summons is a dragon.
Okay, that's a choice. Sure.
I went from don't get greedy to get in there and hit her.
God.
And luckily, I did manage to beat her in that instance. I got 2 hits off of her, which killed her, but the dragon did not deactivate. So I had to back way up as this thing is like breathing fire on me and like racing after me. I'm like, come on, just give me the, foe killed. Just give me the screen. And finally, it gives me that screen and the dragon goes away. But
oh, thank God.
My God, the feeling that I had of that, where it's like, okay, you got this, just calm down, keep it going. And then you see that dragon pop up and you're just like, mother of God, let's go.
Oh God, it's just right. But I feel like
dragons, dude. Come on.
That's right. I do feel like the thing that people don't maybe don't click with or maybe don't understand about what's so great about the games that in this sort of subgenre that From Software makes is that kind of repetition of boss battles where you're like, all right, I made it one more step. All right, I got her to half health. I've got it. Oh God, she does something new. Okay.
Yep.
Now I know at that point she does this thing, and like you're just taking every little bit step and getting a little bit better each and every run, even if it's just like by 1% more, and then having all of that come together like at the very last fight you have it just every time it feels so good.
Yeah, I mean, killing any of these bosses in this game has definitely given me that that flush of adrenaline of I finally did it after so many tries. But then
Feyrer in chat says it's like roguelikes. Exactly. Like that's the thing I love about roguelikes is like I learned a new thing this run, or I unlocked something new, or I got a little bit better at, we call it the flow chart over and we roguelike it, like your internal mapping of the game. It's like I got a little bit better, so I know next run will be a little bit better or a little bit further. Like that, I think that's the thing that at least for me, is so appealing about this stuff.
Well, that's kind of why I get so defensive when people are like, "Oh, it's so easy," and it's like parts of this game are easier than original Dark Souls because you do have that option of, okay, you've beat your head up against this boss 10 plus times and you just don't want to do it anymore. Then don't. There's other areas that you can go explore. Yeah. You might even find something to help you up, fight whatever boss you're stuck on, or you may even find out that that's just an optional boss. You don't even have to fight that boss to actually beat the game.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's so much stuff and so many extra enemies. I think there's 5 core bosses, like 5 main story bosses in this game for you to see credits.
Right.
Everything else is just whatever you feel like doing.
Yeah, go fight this cool space lady. It's like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah. So I still really like how this game looks. Especially that fight when you're back on the lake with the moon. And I was just thinking of Bloodborne all over again and how much that fight sucked. And this one pretty much lived up to that same reputation. But yeah, and then after that, I had done some PvP. Because I had found out that there's an item that you can get, and there's like this tiny little quest thing that you can do that somebody was telling me about. And I've never liked PvP in the Souls games. I've never been a fan. I've only done it, whenever there's an item or a weapon or something that's attached to doing it, I'll do it for that, and then I just kind of move on. So this one I had to actually look up how to do it, because by default, there are certain items that you have to use for you to even engage that. By default, you cannot be invaded unless you have activated something that allows you to become invaded. And then there's like this whole thing of, you can help people when they become invaded, or people can come help you automatically when you become invaded, and all this other fun PvP stuff that's in there. The first time that I went in, I only did this 3 times because that's all I needed to do for the item. I went running towards this group of people in their world. It shows you on the map not on the map, on your little compass thing, that the enemy or the host is this way somewhere. Went running over to them. There was 2 of them. They happened to be co-oping, and I didn't care. I didn't have to win to get the item, so I just kind of ran up there. They both just started attacking me. I managed to take one down. The other one killed me.
You killed me. Exactly. Oh, you're so strong. Ow.
I'm like, cool, whatever. Same thing happened with the second one, where I invaded their world. It was 2 people again, but somehow, for some reason, another invader came into this world.
Oh, weird.
So now there's 2 of us invading these 2 people, which, again,
twins.
Well, I wasn't caring, but I managed to get both of them down to half health before I got killed, and the other guy was like throwing lightning at them and taking out like huge chunks of health. And I'm like, well, cool. That guy got a good win.
Right.
Whatever. I don't care. The third one that I did, there's a whole song and dance with doing PvP in Dark Souls, and I didn't bother to do it with the other 2 because they were just ready to go. So, all right, cool, whatever. This other guy, the last guy that I invaded, didn't really seem to know what was going on. So I invaded. I was actually pretty close to him, and there was another co-op person with him. So I don't know if it was his friend or whatever. I show up, and your character is in red, like your ghost red. It's obvious that you are the invader. And so I run up, but I keep my distance from him, just because the one guy that was the host, just like I said, didn't seem to have a clue on what was happening.
Sure.
So out of respect, I just kind of stood there, and he was kind of jumping around. He was checking me out, and then he would back up, but he wouldn't attack me or anything. I'm like, okay, well, let's do what we used to do. And so, I bowed to him, and then he would kind of sit there and look at me, and then he would bow at me. And then all of a sudden I noticed he started switching out his equipment. And what I later found out was the other guy who was co-oping him, that was up on top of a boulder watching us, this guy was filling his friend in on what was happening.
Okay.
Because I got a message after this. So
was he the old sensei sitting on the edge looking at the battle kind of?
That's right.
So I kind of run up to this guy while the other guy's messing around with his stuff just to see, hey, are you are you going to take part in this too?
You want to take this outside?
Yeah. And he doesn't do anything. I'm like, all right, cool. So I back away from him and give enough space for the other guy. That way, because I can see him switching out his equipment and changing out his armor and stuff like that. And when he's ready to go, he gives me a wave, I wave back, and then we just both go at it.
Right.
And I almost took him out.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, he was pretty good. So he ended up taking me out, and he came up, did his bow thing as my character was dying, and then a couple minutes later, I got a message from the other guy that was watching, just saying, "Hey, thanks for giving us time to do what we were doing." And he was basically just saying, "Yeah, this is his first Souls game. He doesn't know any of the protocol or anything for PvP and all that. So thanks for standing back and giving me a chance to explain it all to him."
Nice.
I was like, "Yeah, no problem, whatever."
Yeah. You got to be a good neighbor. Like you gotta, yeah.
At least you were the polite invader, not the dude who just randomly shows up and kicks you off an edge while you're trying to skate around.
Or like
church.
One shots you with some magic you haven't even seen. Where it's like, cool, I didn't even see anybody. Okay.
Yeah, give it a couple of weeks because
for sure. Most people get bored enough.
Well, and the fact that there's so many people playing Elden Ring compared to the other Souls games that this was just kind of a thing that happened. Like it became more of a stupid fun respect thing inside the community. But now that we have so many new people, everyone's just kind of like, "Oh, there's the person, go kill him."
Right.
But whatever. I don't have an issue with it either way. Like I said, I hate the PvP, so it was more just me giving him a chance to prepare for what was going to happen. Because even if it looked like I was going to kill him, I probably would have stopped.
Yeah.
Because it
wasn't
one of those.
Oh no.
Well, yeah. It's not that I had to win 3 PvPs. I just had to participate in 3. So I'm like, I don't, and it doesn't do anything to me if I win or lose.
Right.
So,
I fell over. Oh no.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I rolled off the cliff. Whoops.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. So clumsy.
But yeah, I really enjoy that's still that's come over into this is the weird decorum and stuff that we had.
Yeah,
going
like
on
the
way
rules
back
of
when.
engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I did this week.
I only really had. I was sitting here before we started recording, thinking like, I only played one game a little bit this week. Where did the rest of my time go? And I forgot that I have restarted. It's not video game related. I'm just gonna talk about it here a little bit though. I got some new technology this week that I'm excited about.
Printers.
Well, it's the opposite. Two new scanners. So my wife inherited a number of very large bins with completely unorganized photos, like printed photos and film negatives, scanning from the most recent I've found is like 2001, 2002, and the earliest I've found has been 1923. So about 100 years worth of photos. So where most of my time this week has been, I got a film negative scanner, which works for about 75% of my photos because they're like 35 millimeter strips. So I can feed them through, snap, like take the pictures. Works really nice. It's like a Kodak. It looks really cheesy and it looks really cheap. But it's actually really good. There's stuff from like the 1920s that I can't scan because I have no idea what format it is, even after looking it up. They're like one negative at a time, and they're a pure square. So it's a lot of like, well, it can't fit this in here. Okay, I'll have to buy a flatbed negative scanner. Sure, I'll do that another time. But I also got this like photo and document scanner. It's one of those that you've seen that is just like one long kind of thin rectangle that you just like put something in and it just rolls it on through and scans.
Oh, it almost looks like a laminator.
Yes, almost like that. And I was like, it's super hot. It's made by a company called Doxy. It's one of those things where you look at it and it's like, this is not gonna be great. Like it says it does 600 DPI, but okay.
Yeah, we all do quote unquote 600 DPI.
Yeah, exactly. But like, man, this thing is a workhorse. Like, you don't even need to plug it into your computer. An SD card goes in the back, and you just feed stuff through there, and it just scans in genuine 600 DPI, and it's been great. But where my week has gone this week is I'll pull out like a manila envelope, and I'm like, oh, I'll just scan this one. And I'll like dump out all the photos, and I was like, oh, that's not that bad. And I get done with them, and there's like 450 pictures I just scanned, like the front and the back of, and then I lost like 4 hours straight. It's like, cool. There's all right. That's where my day went. Okay.
Technology mixed with organizing.
That's I have like driving my wife a little bit crazy because I have like a very strict naming scheme. Like each individual manila envelope or like a big photo album. Here's a peek inside my brain. I'm sorry. Like each envelope or photo album has an individual file folder. Like on I'm saving all this stuff on Dropbox. It has a folder, and then inside there, sequentially numbered files with it's a 6-digit, and then with a letter at the back. So there's like they're saving a lot of stuff. So like there's some things where it's like, oh, here's a like an envelope. So I'm going to scan the front and the back of the envelope because someone wrote on it, and if they kept it, it's probably important. And then I'm going to scan the front and back of every page of the letter in here. So each one of those is like A, B, C, D, E, but they all have the same number. And it's like driving my wife crazy. I think it's like a little too organized, but I'm like, well, I have to know that this envelope and its contents go together because the person that received the letter and the person that wrote it is important. And if you don't capture that stuff together, you don't know that this guy wrote it to this lady because they were over in Korea stationed at this base and they're writing about this stuff. Like all this stuff is important. So that's where my week went. Is
you like context is what you're saying.
Yeah, because to me, I think the context matters because like, so this would be the last thing I talk about with this, but all of my family is Irish and all of my wife's family is Irish. And one of the funniest things is if you've ever dealt with an Irish dad, and I like 100% this now that I'm a dad, is we love our family and we're very lazy. So the combination of the two is pretty nasty. So I ran across this letter, this St. Patrick's Day card that like I was almost crying laughing, and my kid just doesn't understand it. On the front of it, it had like a sparkly shamrock, and it was like, oh, happy St. Patrick's Day. And it had this beautiful passage written on the inside of the card. I think it's from the 40s or 50s. It has this beautiful thing. And then at the bottom, like in this arcing text, it says, Happy St. Patrick's Day. This guy wrote, after Happy St. Patrick's Day, he writes all, and then signs it Pa. So he just wrote 2 words and is like, great, I'm done. That's St. Patrick's Day. I did it. It's just like, this is some of the funniest things.
I've spent decades writing Christmas cards that exact same way. And
Yeah.
if you want to do it the really smart way, you underline the message that is included in the card.
That's right.
Merry Christmas. There you go. I underlined
That's
this
right.
part. That's the important bit. Bye.
Or you just do it the way I do it, and you just don't send cards to people.
That's right.
That's
right.
That's it.
So like you said, context matters, and like capturing all this stuff matters because like my wife has been sending it to like a ton of people in her extended family as I've been scanning stuff, and like someone probably fondly remembers, oh, you just wrote all and then he wrote Pa. Like he's been doing that for 30 years. Like I'm sure that matters to somebody. I don't know who any of these people are, but that's like not, as an archivist, that's not my role. But
yeah. Well, and it's entirely possible too, because my father and my wife are both doing, ancestry trees and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's entirely possible that, right now it's just an envelope with some writing on it. But then if she's sending it out to extended family, all of a sudden that sparks something. It's like, oh, hey,
100%.
I have this thing that seems to be kind of related to this thing now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you finally get those two things together, and it's like, oh, hey, here's like this whole half of a tree that we've been missing that we couldn't figure out. Or
yeah, I scanned this picture the other day of this this one of my wife's relatives who was in I don't know which. I haven't run across the branch of the military that she was in, but I've been scanning a ton of like photos and letters from her travels around the world. But I also scanned in this very little, like, it looks like a passport photo. It's one of those really tiny ones, and on the front it's her dressed in her uniform, and on the back it's like, here's my clearance photo from the FBI, looking pretty good, huh, LOL, basically. And I was just like, the what? Like, this is okay, this is wild. So that's largely where my week has gone. I did play some Destiny 2 very quickly to talk about. We did start the new raid, Vow of the Disciple. We got about halfway through the introduction, so in Destiny raids, there's usually like, you don't start with a boss. You usually start with either like a puzzle or like kind of a combat encounter. Thing. Yeah, like sometimes a jumping thing, usually like a combat encounter to just kind of get you fighting something, but you don't have to learn a ton of mechanics yet.
Yeah.
So this one starts with Overwatch's push the payload thing. So you're kind of pushing this payload throughout this entire like swampy bog area.
Is that like the public event on
yes,
on the Throne World?
Yep, exactly like that. It looks different, but it's very much like, hop on this thing. It's gonna go cooking across this swamp. You got to protect it. So you start with that. Halfway through that, one of our teammates, the game just crashed. It hard crashed. Which is pretty uncommon for Destiny in general. And he was having a real hard time getting back in, so we finished that encounter, and we got to the point where we could start the second encounter, and I was kind of explaining how the encounter goes, because it's a Destiny raid, and this is probably one of the most complicated raids. It's not hard, but like, the very first thing most people are going to see is a sheet of 27 individual symbols with names on it, and you're going to be using a lot of those symbols. So it's not an impossible thing, but it's a lot of explanation. So we're kind of going over the fight while he's getting back in, and then he gets an error message that, when we look it up, is just like, yeah, you're joining a party where not everybody is on the same version of the game. It's like, that's not possible, because the game won't let you load it unless you're fully patched. So
yeah,
we give the fight a couple of tries, and eventually he had to jump off because the game just wasn't working for him. It was one of those uninstall and reinstall sort of things. So we pulled in Crash from the community. Big shout outs to him for hopping in like literally last minute. Cleared the first encounter, which is, once you figure out the rhythm of it, is really, really fun. And then we got to the second encounter, and that proceeded to kick us in the teeth for an hour straight. I think we have it now, but it reminds me of the previous raid we were doing, Deepstone Crypt, where it's like, all right, these first couple things are pretty manageable. This boss fight is incredibly hard. Everything else after that is pretty manageable. So it's kind of just like a kind of a big difficulty spike at that point. I'm not going to belabor the point about mechanics or anything, but it's nice to see another raid where kind of each individual team is doing vastly different things to kind of make all of it come together at the same time. That's the stuff that I really like out of Destiny raids, is either when all 6 people are doing the same thing, or when you have a like 2 or 3 teams that are all kind of, doing everything together to kind of make it all happen. I have a feeling I'll like the next encounter after that, where essentially you're juggling these relics. You can't run the same relic throughout the entire encounter. You have to kind of trade it off, sort of like relay race style, to someone else. You have like a minute and a half to get through each section of this encounter, so you're kind of trading the stuff off and sprinting through stuff, and that sounds like a lot of fun too. So far everything is great. Everything's been a lot of fun. Moon's going to be joining us for the raid this week because someone is dropping out. So you'll get our combined thoughts on the raid next week, and Destiny 2 is still good.
That is also a game I played this week that I don't need to talk about because I didn't do enough to make a difference.
Yeah, and we're kind of at the point where it's like the season and the expansion where we're kind of doing similar things every week, where it's like, oh, here's a new battleground in the season. Okay, this one's on Cosmodrome instead of EDZ, but we're kind of doing the same thing as normal, which for me is not a negative. It's just kind of not the most exciting thing to hear about on the show. Other than the raid, it's like, yeah, I'm still playing Destiny. There's more content coming out. There's more stuff I'm doing, but it's all kind of stuff that's a little bit in the weeds at this point.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Cool.
They were bringing the evil on me in the chat here by saying, let's go do Grandmaster Nightfall Glassway. I don't want to. That was brutally hard like 2 or 3 seasons ago. That's one of the Grandmaster Nightfalls this season. I don't want to do it. It's so hard. I don't want to. No thanks.
Yes, you do.
We have been talking whether or not we actually want to do it this season. Because it kicked our teeth in for an entire season a couple seasons ago, to the point where I feel like we're kind of like once bitten, twice shy on it. It's brutally difficult. I think it's the hardest thing I've done in Destiny, is that specific Nightfall. That's rough. Man. All right, let's pull up show notes here. I'm ready to start whenever you guys are.
Yeah, ready.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases for the week of March 14th, 2022. GTA 5 comes out on the PS5 and Series X. If you're interested in buying this, I just ran across this on the PlayStation Store. They're selling this for like $10 as like an introductory price before it comes out on Tuesday, I believe. So if you want to get this for like $30 off, go ahead. You can scoop this guy up. From all the stuff I've seen, looks great, runs great. It seems like it's kind of a solid port. I know literally nothing about GTA Online. I know they're porting that as well, or they're getting a current gen release of that. There'll be like a native current gen release of that. But
here's what you need to know about GTA Online. It's insane.
Right. It's insane, and you don't have the money to play it. Like you ain't got the cholesterol to be out here. The Cruel King and the Great Hero comes out on PS4 and Switch. I recommend watching a trailer for this. This looks like kind of a kind of fun, kind of lighter, fluffier, turn-based RPG. Seems to be reviewing fairly well in like the 8 and 8.5 out of 10 range, which it seems like the biggest criticism that's been leveraged against this is it's kind of easy, which is okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this seems like a kind of fun little thing. Paradise Killer is coming out on PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Series consoles. This was that semi-open world Phoenix Wright style investigation visual novel thing that was a hit on Switch last year, 2 years ago. That's finally coming out on more stuff. I keep meaning to get around to this because everyone really, really likes it, and I think that combination of things is right up my alley. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. The game I've been waiting for like 5 years for, Tunic, finally comes out on Xbox One, Series consoles, and PC. I believe this is on Game Pass day and date as well.
Yeah, another game I don't have time for.
Just checking right now to see.
Ditto. I've been very excited about this game for a very long time. It's essentially like cute Fox Zelda Dark Souls. if you're interested in something like that. It has that kind of same deliberate, weighty feeling combat that like a From Software game does, but it's isometric and kind of cute, like a Zelda game would be. Seems great. I like it. 2 thumbs up. If it's not on Game Pass, I'll be buying it. So, whichever.
Seemed like it was going to be a $30 game anyway.
Well, if it's not on Game Pass, then maybe I'll put it on the wish list. Anno Mutationem, probably butchering that, sorry, comes out on PS4 and PC. If you haven't seen footage of this game, I've been keeping an eye on this one for a while because it's stylistically an incredibly unique game where it's kind of a 2D side-scroll thing. I'm not entirely sure how to describe everything it's got going on here, but the style of it has a really interesting kind of cyberpunk, kind of worn down technology sort of look to it. And I think it looks super cool. And people have played, it was like an early access or like a Kickstarter demo thing of it on PC a while ago. People seem to be really, really enjoying it. So looks cool.
It also had, I don't know if it was on sale, but they had something going, because I came across this by accident really in the store a couple days ago, and there's something like a pre-release bonus if you get it digitally on PSN right now. I would assume if it's on Xbox, it's the same thing. So
I don't think this is coming out on
PC.
Xbox.
Okay, so yeah. But yeah, there is something pre-release that you can get if you're already interested in buying it.
Oh, cool.
Tunic is not Game Pass game.
Biscuits.
Starting out, but you know what? Neither was Death's Door, and look at that.
That's right. That's right. I do want to support the one guy that's making Tunic, though. I think there's maybe 3 people making that game now. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax comes out on PS4, Switch, and PC. This is the same Persona 4 Arena Ultimax that came out on 360 and PS3 back in the day. It does, most importantly, have rollback netcode. So if you're interested in playing the multiplayer on that, it has the good netcode. So Persona 4...
Does it have Gigamax evolutions as well?
Maybe there's secret. Persona 4 AU was really good when it came out. It kind of extends the story of Persona 4 a little bit. If you haven't played Persona 4 or you don't really care, all of that stuff can be skipped pretty easily. It's an Arc System Works fighter, and it's kind of still them at the top of their game. It's really good. So,
if I remember correctly, you come back for Golden Week or something like that, for basically a week off. You came back.
There's a little bit of light story stuff in there if you liked the story in Persona 4. There's also a story mode where the fighting is incredibly easy if you just want to kind of see all the story stuff in the game. So if you want to check it out and you're not good at fighting games, that shouldn't be the thing that stops you from playing it.
Yeah, because that game can go all the way to 11 if you want it to.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a cool game. Shredders comes out on series consoles and PC. This does not have a last-gen release. But I think it was during the Bethesda showcase last year they showed this off. This is an open-world snowboarding game. It's a lot like the open-world skateboarding game that came out. God, what was that game called? I don't remember what that one was called. But it's sort of similar to that, where it's
Are you thinking of Session?
Yes, thinking of Session. Thank you. It's very much like that, where it's here's a mountain, go crazy, do your thing. And it so far everyone seems to be pretty positive about this. So it seems like kind of a cool thing. Check out a trailer for that. It's called Shredders. It looks pretty neat. I believe that's also coming out on Game Pass date. Unlike Tunic, this one is actually.
That I think is, yes.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin comes out PS4, PS5, Xbox One Series consoles, and PC. If you haven't heard about this game,
Chaos.
I'm here to kill chaos. It's a prequel to Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah.
But Team Ninja is making it. So it's a third-person, job-based hack-and-slash beat-em-up. Someone on Twitter had the incredible sales pitch of, it's like Kingdom Hearts, but the only world is Fast and Furious. So if that doesn't sell you on this game, I'm not entirely sure what else would sell you on this game. It looks like it's this incredibly self-aware, kind of weird trip of a game, and it also has a job system where you just use the Final Fantasy jobs. It looks really good.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to find the time to play this, but I really, really want to play it. The final demo is out now. Progress can carry over to the full game. I don't remember if I saw whether or not the demo has like an end date on it. But if you want to check it out, Square usually pulls that thing of like, oh, whoops, the demo's gone. Oh, we forgot to tell you. It's $60. So,
yep.
Speaking of Square selling $60 games, is in the news stories. Chocobo GP, please don't buy that. It's a $50 game with not only a 4-pay season pass, but microtransactions and a free earned currency that expires. Please don't buy this game. That's real scum.
Hold on.
Uh-huh.
Did you say an earned currency?
Yes.
Yeah, that expires.
That expires.
Because it's essentially a free-to-play game with all the trappings and all the interface and stuff, but they're charging you $50 for it. Like, even for Square, that's pretty low.
Did they not learn this mistake from Rainbow Six Siege however many years ago?
Did Square not learn it from literally any of their mobile games? They're running like 15 mobile games at any point, and everybody's like, you guys are nickel and diming me way too much. And they're like, yeah, but what if you also charge you $50 for it? Are we going to be like, yes, sounds great, thanks, this is the one? It's incredible. Please don't buy it.
Games as a service, yay.
Yeah. Let's move on to news stories. Sony had their most recent State of Play. They started off the game with, the show with Dino Crisis. Brand new. Wait, I'm getting a memo here that it's actually not Dino Crisis. It's called Exoprimal. My bad.
Don't ever tease me with that, because as soon as I saw a State of Play, dinosaurs and guns, I was like, oh,
yeah, I was like, well, and there's a Capcom logo at the beginning where I was like, great, they're announcing a new Dino Crisis, and they're like, it's Exoprimal. I was like, sorry? There's a redheaded lady over here, though. Like, what are you actually? Oh, you announced an Anthem where you fight dinosaurs. Okay.
Well, it's a mix between an Anthem and Earth Defense Force.
Right. Which I think could be... You're telling me Capcom is making a game like that where you're kind of mushing all that stuff together? I'm pretty interested. That could be kind of a cool, dumb little thing. Like, that's one I think I'm going to keep my eye on, where it's like, yeah, this could be a fun kind of like play with your friends, shoot a bunch of dinosaurs. It looks like from the trailer there might be like 3 or 4 kind of character classes. Like, ooh, here's the tank with the shield. Oh, here's the light, fast-moving one. Ooh, here's a sniper. Like that sort of thing. So, and
it looked like you could change, maybe not between all of them, but there was one of them that they changed what armor type they were using midway through. So
it could be a cool thing. I feel like the most of the coverage of this has been like, you dared to announce a Dino Crisis and it wasn't, and it's like, no, this thing still looks pretty cool though. So don't dismiss it out of hand.
Yeah. Also remember Dino Crisis 3 and 4.
Yeah. I feel like that's what people are forgetting. It's like they remember the first one, they're like, yeah, it was all right. It's like, it was, but not most of the rest of them.
Great.
Yeah.
The second one was slowly getting there, because didn't they introduce the arcadey stuff in the second one, and then they went hardcore with it in the third one?
Yeah.
Dino Crisis and Parasite Eve both followed a similar thing, where the first one was very much a straight, hard Parasite Eve's case RPG.
Yeah.
Dino Crisis' case Resident Evil. And then the second one was, let's just make them shooty action fun arcade games.
Yeah.
With tank controls. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, they showed a game that apparently I'm the only one that's excited for. Forspoken gets a new gameplay trailer. It also got delayed to October, I believe.
October 22nd, I think it was.
Yeah. Which It probably needed. It's still looking a little bit rough, even in kind of promotional trailers and stuff. I think this game looks like a blast. It's like a fast-playing, kind of third-person magic slinging action hack and slash thing. Like,
she conjures a surfboard at one point.
It's cool, man. Like, I think it looks like a blast.
I'm just interested to see how this game's actually gonna work, I guess. I'm not saying that it can't. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on. So.
Well, like, ever since they announced it, it's just sort of like, but what is Forspoken? Like, what am I doing?
That was the other thing, because there was some confusion in the beginning, because they announced this when they announced, Final Fantasy 16, and both of them didn't have a whole lot, and they both kind of looked really similar. So.
Right. You're like, is this a prequel to 16? Also, Square, where's Final Fantasy 16? Where are you going to show it again?
Easily 10 years down the road.
Probably, yeah. They also showed off Returnal Ascension. Now you can do campaign co-op, which is cool. Yeah. And there's an endless challenge tower, which I think is the Tower of Sisyphus, which looks like it's kind of like an increasing difficulty challenge tower thing. So Returnal's great. Now you can save during your run, and now you can do co-op and have a challenge thing. I believe this is a free patch coming later this month, I believe.
It did say patch, but
yeah. So Returnal's great. If you haven't played Returnal and you have a PS5, I think that's the real problem. Is like, hey, do you have a PS5? You should play Returnal. Yep. It's good. Ghostwire Tokyo came out with a gameplay trailer, not super long, because I didn't realize the game's coming out on March 25th. Like, 12 days as of the time of this recording. Thought that was way further off, but that's kind of surprising. That game... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and I'll say it.
Oh, I was going to say, like, I haven't been paying attention to that game because it's 100% not my jam, but I'm happy to see that every time they show it off, it looks way better each and every time, and it's coming out real soon.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to ask, I didn't know who was interested in it, but there is a comic book, like, pre-release thing that you can download now and play.
They came out with like
actually...
a prequel visual novel thing.
Yeah, my son actually went through and played it and really liked it. So
cool. Yeah, I forgot that came out.
And if you're interested but not sure about spending the money, it will be on Game Pass in 1 year and 10 days or whatever it is.
That's exactly. Yeah, once it comes to Xbox, it will. Yeah, because is it a PlayStation exclusive for right now? Yeah.
Yep.
I think it was. I think they said a year, didn't they?
Yeah.
I think so, because it's one of the Bethesda studios who made it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Cowabunga Collection was announced. They're gathering 13 old Ninja Turtles games from like Game Boy, NES, Genesis, Super NES, like all of the kind of classic ones, and they're putting them all in a collection. Digital Eclipse is doing this, so you know it's going to be good. It's great.
One of the most handsome men on the planet worked on this game.
That's right, Mr. Drew Scanlon. That's coming out on PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Switch. So if you liked any of those, it even comes with the fighting game, which is, if you've never played it, is
the Street Fighter knockoff was actually really awesome.
It's actually really good. Yeah, like it comes with Turtles in Time, which is a great fighting game, like a beat 'em up game.
Yeah, they're also adding the rewind and save anywhere feature as well.
Yes. Yep.
Good. Which is good for a couple of these, because a lot of them were meant to be coin munchers. So.
Yeah. That'll be really great. They showed off Giga Bash, which is essentially a new War of the Monsters game. If you remember that old arcade game where you kind of... This game looks sick as hell. I wish they would have spent more time on this, because this looks super cool. Go check out Giga Bash, all one word. Looks great. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. Now that JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is rapidly gaining steam in the US over the last couple of years, they're remastering the PS3 JoJo's fighting game. I don't remember if the original had online. I know virtually nothing about JoJo's. But I don't remember if the original had online, but I believe this one does. So if you like that crazy show, now you can play the fighting game on more stuff.
That show scares me.
It's an investment. Like it's one of those investment anime shows where you gotta get ready for kind of a trip, a longer, lengthier trip.
I've seen a person turn into a couch.
That doesn't surprise me.
There's the random clips that I've seen for this series has intrigued me and has also warned me to stay away from it.
That's right. I will enjoy it from afar. Square Enix announced a new game, which is surprisingly not a JoJo's game, the Dio Field Chronicle. This is a real-time tactics game coming from Square. It's kind of it's not a turn-based SRPG. It's kind of a real-time thing. This reminds me a lot of a game that I just cannot remember the name of. It's probably like late Super NES, early PlayStation, where I cannot remember the name of, but watching the trailer reminds me a lot of that. This will probably be a pretty cool thing. We don't get a lot of real-time tactics games out of Japan, certainly not out of Square. It's also nice to see Square just like getting back to their old ways of like, oh, you want to try this thing? Yeah, here's $1 million. Can you make it on that? Just all right, we'll publish it. Whatever. Got this crazy idea? Yeah, we'll try that. Sure.
Did you see the dragon summon in the trailer?
I sure did.
Just summon a giant dragon, huge explosion in the middle, and it zooms out so much that you can just see like the square edges of the map.
Yeah,
it's just hilarious.
It's really good.
When they summoned that dragon, I was like, that looks a lot like Bahamut. Are they redoing tactics?
Oh man,
and no. But this game still looks pretty sweet though.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. Some of Square's kind of not AAA output, like Voice of Cards, Dungeon Encounters, stuff like that, has been really, really good, especially over the last year or two. So they're coming out with something that like isn't a Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest game, and I'm kind of like, all right, yeah, like you got my attention.
Which it's funny because these are doing really well, and there's like absolutely no fanfare for them whatsoever.
Like no coverage, and they're great, man. And alongside that, they announced Valkyrie Elysium. This is one of the most wild RPG announcements we have had in a really, really long time. And like literally nobody cares about it. But they're announcing a new Valkyrie game, which the last one was on PSP? PS2? It's been like 16 years. I'm gonna nod my head,
maybe.
Yeah, it's been long enough. I don't know for sure. The first one came out on the PS1. I think the second one came out on the PS2. It's been like 15 or 16 years, and they're like, "Oh yeah, here's a brand new one. It's a new Valkyrie one." This time it's a third-person action game, which is fine. I'm not precious about it being kind of come to me, my inheritor. Nothing like that. But I don't know. You come out with another. Square puts out who put out the original ones? Tri-Ace, maybe? I don't remember. But
yes, Tri-Ace put out the originals. And the second profile came out on PS2.
Okay, so it has been multiple generations of platforms.
Oh, actually, 2006. So yeah, back there, but not too far back there.
Yeah, we're getting there. So I'm really excited about this one because I loved the first one. As did anybody who played it, and I never played the second one because I liked the first one.
The second one was okay.
Yeah, it was.
This was definitely one of those things where about a minute into the trailer, I'm like, that looks like a Valkyrie. Is this a Valkyrie profile game? And my son's 100%. Like, what is a Valkyrie profile? It's like, I need to get this game.
In the olden days before you were born, my child. Yeah, so I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I think this looks kind of neat. I don't care that it's not a turn-based thing. I think it could be a neat thing. But I think even on a novelty standpoint, it's wild that there's another Valkyrie thing. And then that was the end of the show. They're like, yeah, here you go. Anyways, bye. So a really wild state of play. This one was fine. I don't think we've had a state of play that's been like to the Nintendo Direct level of just like one banger after another one, but this one was pretty okay.
This one was only 30 minutes?
I think it was only 20 minutes. Like this one was short. Yeah, they keep them pretty short.
It started when I got out of work and I got home at the end of it, so I had to rewatch all the trailers and stuff.
Right. That's the one thing I have liked about the State of Play stuff is it's pretty short. You know, Nintendo Directs, I like that they're kind of like this hour-long thing, and they're going to show a lot of stuff, but Sony's just like back-to-back trailers. We're going to show you a bunch of stuff. We're going to get in and get out. I kind of appreciate that. Bummer of a news story this week. I figured we'd cover this because of our two spacefaring friends here on the show.
Yep.
Elite Dangerous is no longer under development for consoles. There was a short blog post here really underselling the beginning of this. Quote, "It's no secret that Odyssey's launch was less than ideal, including the need to split the PC/console player base to focus on a PC-only launch." This is from David Braben on the official Elite Dangerous blog. He continues, "Since Odyssey's release in May 2021, we've worked tirelessly to improve the Odyssey experience on PC, and whilst we have made great progress, there's still more to be done. We have been supporting the pre-Odyssey and post-Odyssey code bases since," end quote. He's essentially saying, like, things are still in a state. Like, the PC version of Elite Dangerous is in a much better spot. If you haven't seen what happened when the Odyssey release came out, it was bad. Like, it
was
on
fire.
Yeah, like everything was on fire. The beta was rough. The full release came suddenly and was rough. Like, it was a bad release, sort of from front to back. And they've been working on trying to get that stuff to in a better state, and then kind of get it across all the platforms. And eventually just had to say, like, just having a real hard time getting this on consoles and keeping it in the best shape it can be. So it's Elite Dangerous is still going to run on consoles. We're going to put out any like critical patches and hotfixes.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like, it's kind of be frozen in time at this point.
Well, and kind of, it's not so much that they couldn't get Odyssey to consoles, it's that the PC version of Odyssey is such a current dumpster fire that they haven't been able to put any time into even looking at a console version of Odyssey.
Right.
Which is where a lot of the fan anger is coming from. I am not... It sucks.
Yeah. Do they have...
It does, but at the same time, this is also a tiny team. Like, they've always been a tiny team.
Yeah.
And the things that they've managed to do with that team are simply magic.
Yeah.
So people need to give these people a break. Like, I never thought I'd get Elite Dangerous on the consoles, let alone the DLC and updates and everything else.
Yeah.
And I mean, I give them a lot of credit for being honest. Like, they came out and they could have just been like, "Oh, it's coming any quarter now." They're like, "No, look, like, we just can't afford to do it. Like, we can't take the development time to do it. We're sorry. Like, we're not shutting down the servers on consoles or anything, but like, we just can't. We can't support it anymore."
And that was another thing that had come up too, is there hasn't been anything official, but down the road they're looking at being able to move currency from console to PC. So far, nothing about progress though.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. They don't have cross save.
No, because the PC and console versions have always been so drastically different version-wise. There's only been like a couple of times that you could migrate from one to the other.
Sure.
But currently there's talks about, progression swap possibly, or progression transfer, but nothing is official right now. So,
yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be too surprising at this time to say that's the dream, is sort of saying like, all right, if you want to move your progress over, maybe we'll have a one-time kind of export to import it over to the PC side, with I'm sure there will be some caveats, but you from Frontier's perspective, you definitely don't want to lose that fan base of like, oh, you want to do that? Let's start back over. You only have a couple hundred hours in, right? A couple thousand? Yeah.
Only.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, the game has always gone on sale, and if you just want a game where you're just flying around in space, dropping off random jobs and whatnot, I mean, it's still a perfectly fine game.
Yeah.
Even on
There's
next gen.
too much stuff in that game anyway to do everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're still at the point that between all the consoles and PC, we have only discovered 1% of the galaxy map so far. Still,
right.
So,
Pretty sure, yeah,
because it's a 1-to-1. So
there's never a better time to start.
Yeah,
dangerous.
Yeah, it sucks, but I mean, it's still a really good game for what it's been. So
yeah, exactly. And last news story here, just a quick, like, incredibly, massively historic thing that's sort of floating under the radar here. The classic dating sim Tokimeki Memorial has its very first fan translation out. If you've never heard of this game, it's the most popular dating sim in the world, essentially. It's been the longest running. This first one is probably the most popular one. It's been one of excuse me. It's been one of the hardest games to translate because it has an absolutely metric ton of dialogue in it. It's like novels and novels worth of text. A team did translate the Super Famicom version. It's not the PlayStation version, which is like kind of largely regarded as kind of the best version, but I get the impression that there's some technical problems with translating that one that weren't present in the Super NES one. But this was a
Konami game?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Konami, this was their bread and butter for so long. If you haven't seen Tim Rogers' Action Button review for Tokimeki Memorial, it is probably the fastest 6-hour video I have ever watched. But he does a really good job of capturing, if anyone's interested in watching it, he chops it up into like 20-30 minute bites, so you don't have to watch all 6 hours at once. He does a really good job of explaining like why this was such a hugely important and influential series, and then he doesn't show all of them. He goes through 20-something playthroughs and kind of samples from a bunch of them of, here's his first totally blind playthrough where he makes every single mistake you could, and then like learns the game systems and really gains a respect for it over his playthroughs until he gets to like the perfect playthrough at the end. It's really good. I can't recommend it enough. So wanted to mention it is just this like hugely massively important thing. It's like if someone would translate if like Dragon Quest 10 would come out here, and that sort of thing. That's all the news stories we have this week, though, which means that's the end of our episode. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us is on the right-hand side of the page, including link to Discord server, featuring the best community on the internet, hands down. Hang out with all of us on the show and every fine person in the community. Also, don't forget to go join our Patreon, patreon.com/E1M1.
The ones on numbers.
Told you about all the cool audio you got at the beginning. If you support us financially, that helps out a ton. Helps me pay for all the hosting. That is not cheap. We've been with Libsyn, our podcast host, now since episode 1. Since before that, since the test episodes. Been there with them for 13, 14 years now. Well worth it, but not cheap. If you want to see where all the budget breakdown is, that's all on the Patreon page. I like being transparent about all of where all your money goes. And get us closer to the $250 goal, where I play some spooky, scary stuff in the dark after my whole family has gone to bed, which is certainly not a recipe for disaster, I can promise you.
Yeah, you're not going to wake anybody up, I swear.
No, and I'm sure my kid, now suddenly moving like a ninja throughout the house overnight, will not come.
That's going to be the best part.
Yeah.
No, she doesn't even say anything. She just like,
shit in the back of the frame.
The back of your neck, you know?
It will 100% happen.
VR sucks. Just
yeah. If you can't support us financially, totally understand. The best way to support this show and any other show you listen to is by rating us 5 stars wherever you listen. and especially sharing on social media, telling your friends. Word of mouth especially is a huge part of growth for any podcast, YouTuber, streamer, anything you watch. It helps out a ton, way more than you think.
If you can't support us financially, support us orally.
That's right. That's right. Certainly nothing wrong with that. You play the tape back. Nope, sounds great to me.
Moon had to sit there and collect himself for a good minute before he could say that.
I was wondering what he was giggling about over there for like the last minute. It was worth it. I like it. Mm-hmm. That's right. Faye Roar in chat says, love the podcast, tweet about it. That's right. It's support us Twitterally. And that's our episode this week. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. See you next week. Bye.
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 I do love a good wordplay, though.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good. Man.
Yeah. He's sitting there tearing up over there.
It's just... Hey, man, if no one else can make you laugh, you should make yourself laugh. It popped
into my head. And then he was still talking, so I couldn't interrupt him. So I was trying to find a good way to break in and say it, but the whole time it was just in my head every second of it. I was like,
the whole time I'm just watching you, waiting for whatever this thing is going to be to come out.
Right, wherever this lands. It reminds me so much of one of my favorite Giant Bomb clips where Danny O'Dwyer and Drew Scanlon are sitting there talking about No Man's Sky, and Danny O'Dwyer mentions Hello Games, the developer of No Man's Sky, and you can see the light bulb go on over Drew's head, and he's like, he smirks, but like keeps it to himself until he lands the joke of like, well, if it was in Ireland, it'd be top of the day games. And like, just like seeing this, like the little light bulb go on where he's like, this is a keeper. This is a good one. Like, that's very much that moment of Moon just being like, oh no, it jumped in my brain. It's trying to come out of my mouth. No.
Well, that's the problem, is having to ride that razor's edge of, this is hilarious. It needs to come out into other people's ears. However, I can't screw this up.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, and it has to be PG as well, just so make things more interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. All right, Nimp, what are your titles?
All right, speaking of PG... my first title, The Big Cup. Okay. Who wins? Me. Then I have Don't Get Greedy, followed directly by Get In There and Hit Her.
Right.
You Ain't Got the Cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
And Fastest 6-Hour Video.
Moon, what do you have?
Honestly, my brain was dead, so I only got 2 this week, and it is That's Why You Get the Big Cup. I think the full title is better.
Mm-hmm.
And Dreams of Grandeur.
I have that one too.
Say, Pharaoh has like a ton in chat, because that was kind of why I stopped writing after a little bit. I'm like, well, most of them are in there. So.
I have Who Says It Now. It's a time loop movie. Hitman 1.2. Dreams of Grandeur, and Who Wins? Me.
Can I put supporters orally in there? I know it's not going to get vetoed.
I like that Faye in chat put that and then immediately says vetoes.
Veto.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like... So, these two are tied for me. It's a time loop movie and Hitman 1.2. I like Dreams of Grandeur just like a smidge more than those, but I'm not married to it. So right.
For me, it's either Dreams or it's a time loop movie.
Something else. Dreams of Grandeur is fine by me.
For time loop movie, is it... I think what I said was, it's time loop movie. Is that better, or do you chop off the O at the beginning?
I think you chop off the O.
And just leave it's a time loop movie?
Mm-hmm.
I like both of those. For sort of like opposite reasons. Dreams of Grandeur is really snappy, but It's a Time Loop movie is verbose in a way I kind of like. Mm-hmm. Talking about Paul Dano, right?
Oh, dude. How did I not know that was that guy?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Everybody in that movie is like hidden. Like the only people you know are the main three.
I think I'm leaning maybe a little bit more towards Dreams of Grandeur.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm circling it. Whoop.
Okay, I'm ready. I got something, and it's referential to that conversation as well, but also a deep inside joke. So I'm good.
I like it. Is it a podcast inside joke?
No, it's a video game inside joke.
Oh.
Especially if you've listened to me talk about video games.
Okay.
Cool, I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 751 from March 14th, 2022. Dreams of Grandeur.
The key is the retail 1000.
As Godric smashes down my ambitions.
That's pretty good, Moon. I like it. All right.
Thank you.
I like all of you that are listening to and watching this show. We appreciate it every week. We hope we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Support us early.
No.